Alright guys, in today's video, we're going to be reviewing a live $10,000 deal that was closed inside of my AI agency. That's a full $10,000 deal closed. While showing the entire sales call live and actually reviewing it from my closer Jacob, who's on my sales team inside of my AI agency. And he went through the entire call with this prospect and now our client, where we had a bunch of objections, had a bunch of things going back and forth, and overall kind of just a lot of just like rebuttals before we actually got the close.
Okay, so we just went from a nice margin of a decent ROI of $3,000 a month to $9,000 a month, which pretty much is our entire financial budget.
And I think it's going to be super insightful as you kind of see how sales are done.
You'll make back at least what you're investing over those 90 days, bare minimum.
For pretty high ticket packages, as usually the price point in my agency is anywhere from $15,000 to $25,000 up front. This client just needed a few less deliverables, so it was only $10,000. But inside this video, hopefully you guys enjoy and actually get a bunch of value from it that you can take inside your own sales calls for yourself. So that being said, without wasting any time, let's jump into it.
Wyatt told me a little bit about you guys. I don't want to really take any, put any words in your mouth or anything like that. But from what I know is you guys have a clinic right now. You're just looking to add some outside help to get all the marketing and the sales going. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So just before we jump in, I believe this call right here is a follow-up call. So I think Jacob actually already spoke with this prospect initially once, but now he is ready, seems like more ready to move forward, but wants to go through it with his partner first, who's also on this call. So we'll see how this goes. Jacob should be following, obviously Jacob on my team, my closer, my main sales guy. He should be following the 3-step framework I always talk about, which is number 1, discovery. So go through all the questions for the prospect, go through what is going well for them, what's going wrong for them, and how our service can essentially be a band-aid for every single problem that they currently have within our realm of service. And then pretty much step 2, go through our entire process. And then step 3 is actually go through the pitch, pricing, and just make sure they understand everything we do and make sure it's good to go. But he's going to really need to dig into some pain points here, assuming because this guy did not close in the first call. So let's jump into it.
So it's a little more complicated than that. My business partner and I, he ended up finding a kind of a niche opportunity here. We've got a stem cell serum that is better than anything on the market by leaps and bounds. Mm-hmm. And so he thought that the best way to do it initially was to open a clinic. And so we've got a clinic down in Winter Park, Florida, just outside of Orlando. But because of the serum and its potency, we're having tremendously more success distributing the stem cells to other doctors and other clinics. Mm-hmm. So what we have here is kind of a lead marketing opportunity for the company to really grow sales in general, and then of course take this pretty much wherever we wanted to go with it. So we're kind of investigating new marketing opportunities. I'm pretty familiar with Google Ads, and up until recently it's been really difficult to do that sort of thing. Social media marketing is now starting to breach recently the scale of that. Now it's kind of all over the place, and I see you guys have jumped on that. So that's kind of what caught my attention. We do have a clinic, and so if you want to talk clinic only, we can certainly do that. I think there's a lot of other opportunities.
We can help with anything really in regards to marketing on the regenerative side and medical side, whether it be to doctors, whether it be to patients. But let's more so focus on the clinic side, because I'll tell you the B2B side is a little more complex and it takes a little bit longer to actually get it up and running and make sure that it's functioning the way it should be. It's more of a complex sale because obviously there's regulations that come into place, 351, 361, doctors care about the labs. It's a longer sales cycle. So in terms of the clinic, how long has the clinic itself been open?
About a year, maybe
I think so.
Somewhere between 14, 15 months.
Okay. And where are you guys at right now in terms of like patient base and like how much is actually coming in every month?
It's fairly slow. I mean, the good news is the treatments are, $10,000, $12,000, $14,000 each. So
that's why everybody gets into regenerative, right?
Yeah, financially wise, they probably do, almost $1 million a year. But it's, the doctors come in, I think 3 times a week on average, sometimes 4, but they're certainly nowhere near full time.
Okay, so what's the actual monthly looking like?
In revenue, customers, participation?
Revenue, patients, but at the end of the day, we're here for revenue, right? So revenue is a bit of a better number.
Yeah, I think it's up and down. I'd say average is like 75, 80,000 a month.
Okay, that's actually pretty good. That's better than what most are doing. So what's kind of like the rationale between you guys, like trying to get some outside help? Like what are you actually doing right now for marketing?
Okay, so first thing Jacob just addressed there, number 1 is their revenue, obviously extremely important. Number 2, we're going to go into what kind of competitors are out there that they maybe have already spoken with and are competing directly with us, right, in our agency, because there's a ton out there and we obviously want to differentiate ourselves. So this is an extremely important question you want to ask before you go into your pitch, into your process of what you actually sell and how you talk about it in depth. Because if you just essentially go in and you don't ever ask about who else they're looking at or what else they like out there, you're essentially going to get to the end of the call and you could have missed all the things that they liked about other companies, and it's going to make them completely turned off on your service. So we'll see.
So that's one of the reasons I'm on with you, is because my partner's kind of all over the place. He's just so it's a publicly traded company, number one. So his focus is the stock. And taking this thing to NASDAQ, right? Which I think we've got a great play to do, and that's something that we can certainly have a different discussion on. But for him, it's all about the revenue. It's all about the press release. It's all about the next story.
Right.
If you're familiar at all with public company, the press is really where it's all at. So
that's right. Numbers drive more. Press drives more numbers.
Exactly.
Got it. So with the way you're getting patients right now, is it like the word of mouth style? Is it what are you guys actually doing in that sense?
We have, I don't know. We're getting 5 to 7 new inquiries a day, just absolutely organically via email, coming to one of the 4 different websites that we have. He's got some, I would call it very loose, non-productive social media going on. I myself, stepped in and wanted to do some Google ads, but ran into some trouble there. We were successful with doing some boosts in Meta and Facebook and Instagram and some other stuff that's actually worked pretty well. We were getting.
Are you still running those channels, or is it still just kind of working?
No, they're on hold. He went with an influencer who has not done very well at all, and that influencer's part of his program was I need to be the only one present on those social media markets, and so we backed off. And so website traffic tanked, social media traffic tanked. So he's probably on the way out real quick.
Right. Tanked like to what point?
I'm not sure I understand.
It's a great question.
Because you said it tanked, right?
Yeah, so website traffic, if I was to share a screen real quick, so my Google Analytics website traffic, we were getting, 800-900, hits a day via social media paid, and now we're getting, 22, and he's paying quite a bit more money than we were paying for just, boost traffic. And
right.
Like I said, we were getting, 5 or 6, 7 inquiries in the first 3-4 days of doing some boosts, not even running an ad, just doing social boosts.
In terms of you guys and more so like the leads that you're getting right now, if there was something you would change, like obviously other than the volume, would it be like any quality issues or anything along those lines?
Yeah, so the leads right now that come in, they're not, everyone has an interest in this, right? And depending on their channel of where they came in, what they saw, especially from social media, the more vague it is, the more interest there is, right?
So in terms of, what you guys feel like you need in place, like realistically to, kind of, get the right systems in place in terms of marketing, what do you feel like you would need from our end? I don't know how much Wyatt kind of explained to you guys about what we do.
Yeah, I think what your program offers that we could really benefit from in this point is that, we are a small team. Betty and a couple of other individuals are really the only ones with hands-on marketing, answering questions, getting on the telephone, helping people. And like you said, a lot of that is a very broad reach. So, it's almost like we're changing the conversation with, stem cell treatments can be tens of thousands of dollars. Are you prepared to spend that? Save a lot of time with educating them about what a stem cell is and what an exosome is and what regenerative is, and then to come to find out $12,000, I can't afford that. So, one of the things we could definitely benefit from is one of the things I think you marketed yourself as is being a resource that would actually qualify, to it looked like a 50-50 ratio, right? You're going to provide 150 booked appointments with maybe 90 actual paying customers. That would help a lot. Because we're spending tremendous amount of time getting, 1,500 cold leads and getting, 50 paying customers.
It's like a bit of a hamster wheel you kind of run through, and it's just you don't have the time to do what you need to do, rather than focusing on a bunch of activities that aren't leading to anything.
And until recently, with the marketing opportunities opening up, my plan was more complicated. It was get a bunch of leads and then use AI and autoresponders to filter out the whole. Well, here's what you wanted to know before you call us, before you contact us, before you send any more information. Here's what you need to know. If that's something that through influencers you can get the message across to people who need fire extinguishers, right? Not just anyone who's buying a home today, then the market opportunity really changes. So
yeah, absolutely. Okay, so with those systems in place, right? Like, so we're pre-educating them, we're making sure we're actually getting qualified people, and we're only handing those ones off to you. Like, realistically, where do you guys kind of want to see this? 6 months down the line, call it. 6 months
down the line, I want to see it vetted. I want to see it work. I want to see it maybe with the clinic.
Right? Everybody's definition of work is a little different, right?
No, mine's real easy. If I can break even on the investment from a revenue perspective, then that works and it's worth putting money.
We're not here to break even.
Okay, so this is a big thing I see with agency solutions and agency sales calls. A lot of people are accustomed, especially clients that have gotten burned by their agencies, literally to just break even. And the reason this makes for such a good client that has this expectation off the bat is we aim to at least 3x our clients' results, right? So if a client comes in, they pay us $1, for example, our goal is to get them $3 back, whatever time frame, usually 90 days, and then they continue with us after a 90-day period, which Jacob is going to go here and explain, how we do it. But all this being said, this guy, Jacob's first instinct, break even. What is that going to do for you? You want to act and you want to just have the tonality in the call that your echelon of clients that you work with and your results are kept to such a high standard that the breaking even isn't even the conversation, okay? Even though that could happen for 10 to 20% of clients or whatever that sign up, because it's a service-based business. Not 100% of clients will succeed. Everyone knows that, but we want to have that expectation that we are this premium service, which I'm sure Jacob's going to do right here.
Exactly, right? So break even means that we might continue running it. Showing us a 2-to-1 ROI means that there's, no question, we dump more money into it. If we saw a 4-to-1 ROI, then you're our team, and then we say, well, where are your limitations? What can you possibly handle?
Yeah, because the thing is, our program itself it's the same price no matter kind of what we put in there. It's just a matter of how much of what you need. All right, because that's kind of the main thing that matters, because every place is going to be a little different. Yep. But the main thing is it's understanding the actual logistics of where you want to go, right? Because without an actual target for us to understand, I can't actually give you the exact numbers around what we would do. Because ROI is one thing, right? We can get you ROI, but if you put in $10 and you want 40 out of it, what's 40 matter? So in terms of revenue, because you're sitting around that $80,000 a month mark, where do you want to see the actual revenue?
We want to be $1 million a month facility. That's the whole goal with that particular, that's the benchmark, right?
In terms of everything, I have enough understanding to kind of let you guys know which specific systems would involve for you guys. Do you have a pen and paper by chance?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So I'll share my screen really quick. Once you can see that.
Got it.
See it very soon.
Awesome. So pretty simple. So this is pretty much our standard program. Now there's a few things that I would kind of throw in for you guys or skew you in a certain direction, but very simply, so Betty, you know the price already. So the price for the full 90 days is $10,000, right? So that's including all of our services, everything along those lines, the sales teams, the ads, everything like that. And then the 3 pillars I want you to write down. So it's going to be lead generation, leave a little bit of space, put in appointment setting, and then pillar 3 is sales. Just let me know once you have that down on a piece of paper.
So the reason Jacob has every single person that we come through on sales calls, if you guys have watched other sales calls on my channel of other deals we've closed, he always has them write it down. And this is just because people generally, and also if you noticed, he also said the price. All right, this is before he's gone into any of the details of our service. And the reason this is so effective is because if you can articulate, number one, your price up front, it gets a huge mind block out of the way, so they actually listen to what your service is to justify that price point. I see a lot of agencies, they go through the entire sales process and your client or your prospect turned their brain off the entire time just to listen to what the price was. And they didn't take in anything you actually told them. So that's a little quick strategy you can use, is actually saying the price right as you pull up your screen, just being like, the price is $10,000, the price is $15,000, the price is $3,000, whatever your service is. And then letting the client be like, holy cow, that's expensive. All right, now let me listen and see how that's justified. And it kind of clears that mental block. And then, of course, when it comes to writing things down, it's just your client remembers it, okay? Or your prospect remembers it. They go to other companies, they listen to all these presentations. If they have something on their desk that is written down from you, you're going to come to mind first. And they're probably going to remember what you said, compared to everyone else. And it's like, as you write things down, it sticks in your head easier. It's kind of everyone knows it.
Okay, so pillar 1, it's mainly going to be the lead generation. So the way we go about this is, I'm not sure how well you guys know the way Facebook works and Meta. Are you guys aware of the new updates they did last year? So you have to launch a lot of ads every single month. And I'm talking 40 to 80 new ads just to test the wording. Because a difference in 3 or 4 words can change your conversion rate to the next step of the funnel or the quality of the prospect by double sometimes. It completely depends on the words. So we launch 40 to 80 of those ads every single month. And obviously we send these to you. You guys give us the green light. We have the actors we put into place. And what we do is we frame these as celebrities who have, gone to you guys. It positions you as an authority. So by the time people get into the next step of the funnel and they're hit with the education, there's already a trust factor built in there. So once they go through the rest of the funnel, it's just more and more trust being added over time by the time they get to the sales team. Does that all make sense? And then step 2, there's kind of a little bit of a background pillar here that's put through all of the pillars. Now, the main thing is FDA, you have 351 and 361. When it comes to marketing, you have to use certain words and you have to omit certain words. So the way the ads are framed is around people's pains, problems, stuff they've tried in the past, how it's affecting them.
That's also another quick thing to just butt in, is talking and having education around your clients' regulations in certain industries is super important. So I'll give you guys one example. Is for right here, of course, Jacob's going through certain, regulations around advertising and marketing, around these type of stem cell treatments and products. when I was working with real estate agents, and that's how I got my agency when I was 17 years old, I was making like 25K a month at the time. That was what I did on sales calls is I always talked about, hey, I could never take a cut of your commission in a deal and have like almost like a revenue share with you on, listings or home buyers that I bring to you, because I'd have to be a licensed real estate agent to actually be able to do that by law. And I couldn't do that. And that as a 17-year-old, these real estate agents that'd be listening to me are like, dang, this kid knows his stuff. And it's just the small things if you understand, certain terms in certain industries like GCI, for example, gross commission income. That's like the quick way of saying to real estate agents, how much money have they made profit in a certain amount of time frame. And GCI in the last 12 months is their net income in the last 12 months. So just knowing quick, small, like industry niche things that makes your prospects and potential clients really understand that you know your stuff is it's extremely important.
Because you can't use the word stem cell when it comes to advertising. You'll get a big slap on the wrist from the FDA. So it's more so focused on the specific problems they have. So let's say it's somebody with shoulder pain, knee pain, anything along those lines. Each of the ads are going to be specific. So once they get into the education part of the funnel, the actual video that shows up there to educate them is going to be dynamically loaded. So basically what that means is the actual education video, 70% of it is going to be static, but 30% of that video is going to change relative to the advertisement they come off of. So let's say they come off of an ad that's specific to shoulder pain. That video is going to populate with an educational video that's specifically around shoulder pain. Same thing with knees, whether it be with hair restoration, with using it for any sort of other problem that you guys are solving within your clinic with the services, it's going to dynamically load. Does that all make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. And then pillar 2 is the appointment setting. So once somebody goes through that funnel and they book in on the call, they're going to be able to book a day, 2 out, later in the day, whatever works for them. But the main thing is we have our callers. So speed to lead is extremely important because I'm sure you guys have noticed this. A lot of people will forget. They kind of don't know what they clicked on. They have no idea why they were even inquiring. So what we do is our appointment setting team will call them within the first 2 to 5 minutes of them even putting their information in, even if they booked out a call for like maybe 2 or 3 days out, right? If they can't take the call right there, they at least confirm it, keep touch points with them until their call 2-3 days down the line, just so that they're fully aware of what's going on. And the way this appointment setting call is going to work, they're going to take them through a little bit of a sales call. And what they're going to do is it's going to be talking about their pains, problems, stuff they've tried in the past, how it's affecting them, their day-to-day life, where the actual pain is, really just building that gap. So by the time it comes to the end of the call, and once they get to the sales team, there's already enough of a pain built, meaning house being on fire. By the time they get onto the sales call, when the fire extinguisher is presented, they're willing to take it because they know how deep of the problem it is. Does that all make sense?
Yeah.
Awesome. And then what we do is for all the leads that come in after hours, 2 a.m., 3 a.m., a lot of people wake up in pain. We have an automated bot that's going to reach out to them and send them little pieces of content relative to what they filled out on the form to keep those touch points there until somebody is able to call them in the morning. Does that all make sense?
Yeah.
Awesome. And then once they get to pillar 3, which is a sales pillar, there's kind of 2 ways to go about this. Option 1 is we would place an actual salesperson into the company for you, and they would close these deals on your behalf, collect all the cash, send it over to you, and they work on a 10% commission basis. So if they don't close a deal, they don't get paid. And then option 2, which is what I recommend usually for clinics that are more so in the starting out phase because the close rate is significantly higher. What we do is we would collect deposits on the appointment setting call. So by the time they come into the clinic, they're fully pre-educated, they have money down, and they already know what the price is because the person who was on the appointment setting call already pre-qualified them from a financial perspective or from a credit perspective, meaning are they qualified to go through something like Care Credit or Cherry to finance the actual service itself. Does that all make sense? Awesome. So those are the 2 options. I would personally put you guys in option 2 because it's going to give you a higher close rate at first. Option 1 is more so for once you're at that 500,000, 600,000 a month mark where you need the scale and you're looking to further places out to bring people into your clinic. Because the close rate's a little lower on the Zoom calls and in person it's a little higher. Does that all make sense?
Yes.
Any questions about the program itself that are coming up for you guys?
You mentioned that these salespeople get a commission that's up and above your 10,000.
Yeah, so that would be only off of the sales that they make. If you go with the deposit route, there's no commission. That just goes straight to your guys' payment processor directly into your bank account. Same thing with option 1. If you were to place a salesperson, you would only pay them 10% commission off of the deals that they close, right? So there's no base, nothing like that. It's purely once you guys are at scale and you need somebody to help you close these deals, the salesperson would take a 10% commission on closed deals and you would only pay them out after 2 weeks, meaning the person comes in, they do the service, cash is all collected, everything's done, then you would pay the closer.
Okay. You just said something else, regardless of what we spend in ad spend. So your fee of 10,000 does not include our ad spend.
No. Well, where would we
Okay.
make any money?
You're making $3,000 a month on something.
Oh, on
uh,
that, nope. We're barely making money in the first 90 days. We don't make money until you're with us for at least 120,
okay.
150 days.
Okay. Much like our conversation of, hey, this is going to be a $12,000 opportunity for you to help yourself if you're willing to do that, would have been a good opportunity for you to say, it's our fees $10,000 plus ad spend plus commission on agents who close your deals. Now I'm out. There's no margin for us to make. You would have to have a minimum of 2.5 ROI for us to really get excited about, and we'd have to experience that right away. Yeah, I'm assuming ad spend would be no less than $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 a month.
Yeah, we don't do less than 3,000 a month. That's where our guarantee is placed. Yeah.
Yeah, big difference in number. Okay, so we just went from a nice margin of a decent ROI at $3,000 a month to $9,000 a month, which pretty much is our entire financial budget. So, okay, well, thank you. It was a good education. Now we know
Well, I mean,
where you are.
Is
If
it
our budget
just the
changed
budget that's holding you back?
dramatically, what's that?
Is it just the budget that's holding you guys back?
All right, here comes objections. I can already feel it in the call. This person was like, I didn't expect me to have to pay out the ad spend. I didn't expect XYZ, because of course as an agency, we cannot front the ad spend. Like, I don't know any agencies out there that do that. That's always separate to your clients. Whatever fee they pay you, that goes to you, to your team costs. And of course, I have to pay for my team. I have to pay for Jacob, who's on this call right here, right now. So we'll see how the objections go, but he's framed the call up pretty well. He asked a lot of great questions inside the discovery to hopefully kind of like critique his answers right here.
Just the budget that holds anybody. That's the marketing. I mean, that's marketing 101. Dollar in, $2 out.
Budgets, that depends on how you actually look at the money, though. Like, do you
It's
look
all
at
about
it?
ROI. It's all about we can go all day long about call these guys. They sold me a fire extinguisher when my house was burning. And that's great. And we can certainly look at referrals and all of those other things that eventually over years of time and revenue and process pay for themselves. But at the moment, during our current financial model, $3,000 a month makes sense for 10 customers. $6,000 a month for 10 customers stops making sense. $9,000 a month means we're just investing in you, and we're losing money. So
Paying 9,000 a month, right?
well, I'd be paying $9,000 a month if I put $3,000 in ad spend, $3,000 to you guys, and maybe 10% to a salesperson. Yeah, that's exactly $3,000 a month.
Well, you're not going with that right away. You're not doing the salesperson right away. That's
And again, $6,000 a month means we're struggling to create this as a real opportunity for us. When the only upside is that after 90 days we save $1,000, and we jump up to $8,000 a month instead of $9,000 a month, which again depletes our profit. So, yeah, I would love to say I'm running the numbers wrong, but those are the numbers. And
well. Let's do some quick
at $3,000 a month, it's very exciting. At $6,000 a month, it's a long shot, and we got to keep our fingers crossed and hope. At $8,000 a month, or even $6,500 a month, we start losing money. So any way you paint it, you guys bring your fees in. Go ahead.
How would you be losing money?
Well, because we don't have the margin. The margin's not there. I mean, we pay for the clinic, we pay for the doctors, we pay for the process, we pay for the injections, we pay for the stem cells, we pay for operations, electricity, you name it. There's costs involved in running the clinic. It's fairly expensive.
Well, what are your margins? Say you sell a $12,000 package. How much are you guys actually talking out of that?
We don't sell many $12,000 packages. The only time we do is if maybe it's like an HSCT and it's one of those packages that you're talking about. 90% of our customers so far are looking for an $8,000 injection of stem cells. Boom, done.
Well, even if it was 8,000, how much ends up being in your pocket out of that? 4?
Well, we're a publicly traded company, so I'm not at liberty to share exactly that. But no, it's not 4. If it was, it would be break even because 2,000 of it's going to go to you guys, and ad spend and commissions. So there's your number.
The math there. You're going based off of if we close only one deal. Well, because think about it this way: if you're spending, well, you don't have to go with this. It's fine. It's just purely numbers because I only have a couple minutes anyway. But say you were to invest, $3,000 a month into us for the first 90 days, and our guarantee is 150 of those are appointments. 90 of them roughly will come in, actually pay for a service. Say you got even only 20 of those people to come in, right? At $8,000, that's $80,000 in revenue. Spend $10,000 on us, $9,000 on ads. That's $19,000 to make about $80,000 in revenue, roughly.
Yeah, but it's a 25% commission. It's a 25% is the cost. And 25% is more than we have projected to, one, make a profit. So the whole product going to NASDAQ is you have to be a profitable company. You have to be a break-even company.
Hey, OpenAI is negative.
Well, that's because they already are NASDAQ, right? Once you're NASDAQ, I mean, yeah, we can get into that conversation all day long. Tesla is currently a 900 to 1, but listen, that's not where we are.
Well, I mean, if money was out of the equation, like if money were completely out of the equation, purely based off of the system, like do you believe the system itself can work?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Why so though?
Tom.
Great question. So if you guys understand why he asks that question, it's because when you ask someone, hey, does the system feel like it's going to work? And they say, yeah, it is going to work. And you ask, oh, well, why do you say that? What makes you say that? Essentially, all they're going to do is they're going to repeat back every single thing they like about your service. It's almost like self-indoctrination. Like, I assume he'll kind of do it here. He seems a little bit stingy, but you'll see. But that's why you do it. It's essentially like self-indoctrination for everything they like about you.
Sales process 101.
No, it's not a sales process. It's about.
I have the certificate.
Well, it depends on how you look at it. Am I selling to you or am I selling for you?
Well, you're selling for me,
just
but
a job,
at a cost
right?
that doesn't make sense. So when someone's selling for me at a cost that doesn't make sense,
I'm just very lost on the math because typically what we see, and you can correct me if I'm completely off the ball here, but typically what we'll see is stem cell clinics will have at least a 30% margin, bare minimum.
Yeah, and maybe we do, right? But we want to make money, so you've got us in the very low. And so now if we had 30% and you're taking 25, that gives us 5, which is, I guess, kind of worth it. But, we're taking the significant $10,000 risk where we can put $10,000 just about anywhere.
Say your close rate was about 20%. So say you were to close 20 people, which we don't see. We typically see people closing in the 30 to 35% range. Say you were to close only 20% of those people, you put in the 8,000 minus the actual costs. That's kind of what you need to work off of, because I don't want you to look at worst case scenario, because worst case scenario, that's why we have a guarantee in place, right? Because if it doesn't work, that's our fault. But we know that's not going to happen. At the end of the day, you have to look at a realistic number. Realistically, what you'll see over the span of 90 days is about 30-ish per people fully paying for the service. That's what we see on average.
Yeah, I didn't hear something that made me jump out of my chair that was significantly better. You went from 90 to 30, and that's what you want me to run my numbers at?
Well, yeah, say 30 people fully convert, meaning they pay fully converted. We're not accounting for the actual salesperson right now because we're doing the deposit route.
Yeah. So let me just run those numbers. Let me just run those numbers real quick. So we got $10,000 to you. We got $10,000 in advertising budget, and we got at 8 per person. We've got 8 times 30, 2,400, right? 2,400 in commissions paid out. So we got $22,400 invested, and we had 30 customers times $8,000, right?
Well, take the commission out of the equation right now, because you're not going with the salesperson for us, right?
Okay, so I saved $2,400. Okay, so instead I've got 8 times, what did you say, 30 customers?
Yeah.
So 8 times 30 customers gives me a total at 240,000 times 30 customers. It's 240,000, and then I'm spending $20,000 in marketing. Yeah.
Take in your margins, right? Say you're spending another additional on overhead, doctors, supplies, all that stuff. Say you're spending, call it
we got
120, 150. Would that be a rough overhead?
Well, the way we have it structured now is completely, appointment based. So we have fixed costs, which are fairly minimal, but then, the majority of the cost goes to the doctors and, clinic operations and payroll and employees and so forth. So
let's break it down. Varies. So we have the total cost, so 9,000.
So what I'm seeing here, and this is kind of just like observing this call, there seems to be huge miscommunication. I think Jacob knows it. He's trying to bridge this gap. This prospect thinks XYZ is the math, when really the math is not mathing on his part. I don't think he's doing the right math here. So let's just see if Jacob kind of quickly breaks it down.
On advertising, 10,000 to us, so 19,000, right? Then we divide that by 30 patients. Your cost, total cost, meaning our service plus the advertisements plus all that stuff, per patient, you're going to spend $633 on 8,000. Does that work into the margin?
I don't know how you came up. So I definitely have some numbers around that. Apparently, I'm doing this wrong.
So 19,000 because you're spending 10,000 on us, right? So 10,000 on us plus you're doing 9,000 total over the 90 days for ads, right? Gives you 19,000. And if you get 30 patients, so divide that by 30, your total cost spent per patient acquired is $633. So out of the 8,000, whatever your margins are, say, out of that 8,000, you're keeping, I don't know, 2,000. Let's say on the low end, 2,000.
Yeah.
Take another 650 out of that just to keep it as a round number. So you're still left with 1,350, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure why my numbers are so off.
Yeah, I think there was a little bit of a communication issue where we might have been thinking about different things at different times. like based off of that, right?
I must have been doing times 3.
Yeah.
because that's where I was coming into things.
Yeah. Like based off of that, if you're paying 650 to acquire somebody, generate 8,000
Yeah.
in revenue, and here's the thing, like
Yeah.
if you don't like our services, there's a 30-day money back guarantee. I mean, you can leave at any time you want within those 30 days. If you don't like something, you don't like something, right? But we know within the first month, typically what we see within the first 4 weeks of ads being up, you'll make back at least what you're investing over those 90 days, bare minimum.
How do you get paid? You want 10? You want $3,000 over 90 days?
We typically
And then-
do it up front just to cover the full 90 days because we front load the first 30 days. So the first 30 days are the heaviest testing because that's where you're going to get the most amount of data, right? The way we do it is, I mean, we can either go the full upfront or we can do a financing route to break it down and make it more manageable because most people don't come to us
Looks
with
like
a full amount
he beat
upfront.
the objections.
The way the financing itself would work is you can break it down over 3, 6, 12 months, make it more manageable. It works out to roughly $833 a month. And then once you start seeing the profits and the margins are there, you're pocketing money, you can pay it off early.
We've got a whole educational system going right now. learn more
Only
about
way you can do it.
Pain management. Learn more about. It sounds good. I don't know why my math got screwy there for a minute. I will apologize. I think
No
I
worries.
was running. I think I was running triples, and I think that has to be the answer because
You were thinking about it as that much per month rather than like the whole 90 days.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay, man. That's why I'm here to help you work through it.
Okay, you're over your time. We're going to let you go. Thank you for spending the time. I think I have everything I need.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah, you did a great job.
Just because I have 2 more minutes, when can I kind of expect to hear back from you guys? Because my schedule is very tight pretty much every day. Just so I can at least leave a slot for you guys sometime later on. Because I know you guys are probably talking to a few other companies.
We are talking to a few other companies, even if that was not.
All right, so I think Jacob did a really bad job here because he said, oh, I know you guys are talking to some other companies. The first thing he should have done in the discovery, which he didn't fully do, if you guys remember at the start of this video, he asked competitors, but he didn't ask who they were speaking to. And the general rule of thumb I like to go after when if I'm ever on a sales call and I'm talking like this, is I'll ask, oh, okay, when's the future calls you have with competitors? And I'll find the last call that they have. So let's say they have 3 calls over the next couple days, and their last call with any sort of competitor is on Friday at 2 p.m. Great, you got time Friday at 3 p.m.? You want to schedule it after that last event, right after, so it stays in their mind. And we'll see kind of how the last few minutes pull out in this conversation. Spoiler, Jacob did end up closing this person. I'll probably throw up like a screenshot or something of the payment up on screen here. But I think this was poorly executed. So we'll just see, maybe something changed.
The case, we definitely want to get Larry's buy-in on this, right? And make sure that the clinic, which is out of our control, can take this type of activity and learn for this kind of growth. So that whole conversation needs to happen. Do you have a calendar link or something that we can book an appointment?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll get that sent over to you guys. I'll have Ethan send it to you.
Send that so that we know exactly what time. Are you US based? Are you West Coast, East Coast?
I'm Eastern time.
Oh, Eastern.
Oh, you're Eastern. Okay.
Yeah. Well, usually I'm Central, but went back to Toronto to visit some family.
All right, that's pretty much the call. But anyways, deal ended up closing. I think it was a follow-up phone call that happened. They ended up getting the payment link done. Again, I'll throw up a payment screenshot somewhere. Overall, I think Jacob did about an 8 out of 10 on this call. I think everything up to about the pitch was pretty solid. The thing he should have really double tied down on was the looking for competitors, because of course that came up here, and then finalizing payment on that one call. It looked like, again, there was that other guy who owned the majority of the clinic or whatever who had to speak about this before they made payment. But sometimes that is what it is. But yeah, guys, that's a full $10,000 deal closed. I forget the whole nuances on why this was $10,000 instead of $15,000. Usually our price point is $15,000 up front. Even up to $25,000 up front for some clients. So I think there was just a few less deliverables specifically for this client on what they needed. So, but yeah, guys, that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you guys are wanting to start your own agency or scale your own AI agency, if you're already running the business model, you've got a top link in the description below. You can learn directly one-on-one from me and essentially get mentored by me. Many calls I do throughout the week, lots of training, lots of one-on-one help. You're going to speak directly with me. That'll be top link in the description below, so you can hopefully get a closer on your team like Jacob, or even better, and you can start ripping deals while you sleep. So yeah, guys, that being said, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.